A couple of episodes ago, guys, you saw me collecting a swarm in one of these boxes. The swarm itself was actually caught in the green box, but I've transferred it over into this polystyrene box, and the reason for that was at the time the green nucleus box didn't have any ventilation in the bottom, and because they were going to be remaining for a little while, I decided that I was going to transfer them into this box. Now, over the last couple of days, they've been filling comb in here with a lot of sugar syrup and what have you, but they were ventilated. 2 days ago I caught another swarm and we caught it into this green box again, but before that I'd cut in some ventilation, so it's not a problem. What we're going to do in today's episode is we're going to place both of these swarms into their own brand new hives that you saw us build in an earlier episode, and we've painted them, and we've painted them with some it's like fiberglass resin. It's designed for waterproofing, but hopefully that should work much better in keeping these boxes a lot more secure throughout the winter. So that's coming right up after this. So guys, as you can see, we're in a really nice area at the moment, and I'm in the orchard part of a manor house, and this manor house is called Honeybee. It's an old 18th century manor house, and I'll give you a little bit of information about that beforehand, and that's what we're going to do. Right, so this is the area that we're going to be storing them. It's quite secluded, it's tucked out of the way, but it's just right off the orchard here. There's a walkway path right along here, but the hives are going to be facing one that way, one this way. They're going to be shaded by this nice tree above me, but in the winter that puts a lot of sun through because it drops its leaves. So it's a real ideal place. We've got some nice old stone walling around the side of us, which will also help with protection. So the first thing we needed to do, Honeybee very kindly put in this base for us, and I've brought along 2 breeze blocks which we're going to sit this base on. Now, this is a ventilated base with an open mesh floor, and in the front of it here we've just got an entrance reducer. Okay, so that's our first part that's going to go on there. I'm going to move some other equipment out of the way because we've got 2 hives here that we need to build, and I don't need these parts for the moment. So if I put these down. Okay, so these are the boxes that I built in the episode I'll put up here for you guys. Now, I've painted them, as I spoke about, with, it's a gel coat that's used for fiberglass, and I'm hoping that it's going to really help to protect this timber throughout the winter. Inside here, we have some frames built, and this is a wax foundation, and it's worker self foundation, and I've got 12 frames in here, guys. Okay, but before we put this on to that box, we need to put a queen excluder here. Now, the reason we're putting a queen excluder here is to stop the queen from absconding from the hive, because what we're going to do is we're going to take all of that wax off them, and we're going to get them to draw brand new wax on this colony here. So all 12 frames will have brand new wax in. As you can see, some of them have got corners missing. Now, there is a reason for that, and it's not what you might think. It's not a communication hole or anything like that, because some keepers will drill a hole in the middle of this and hope that they can use as communication holes. The reason they were not there is because the delivery man who delivered the wax foundation to me dropped the box on its corner and it snapped the corners out. But that isn't an issue because the bees will fill that out and continue building. All the wax foundation is like a little guide, if you like. What I'm going to do though, I'm going to take out probably 5 or 6 of these frames so that we can shake the bees into the hive. So we're going to look at the hive here. Okay, we've got a nice bee space all around. We're going to pretend for the moment that those frames are still in there, because the next step that we have is this. I don't want to shake the bees in just yet, guys. I will show you that, but if I shake the bees straight in now, I've got to work with them in here while I'm building the second. So this again is literally just a small box. It's got a plywood base with a hole in the middle. Now this is usually called an eek and or a crown board, but I've adapted it to become an eek and a crown board in one. Underneath you will see that we have a lip, and this lip creates the bee space that's required on top of the frames, and this hole is so that we can feed through what's known as a donut feeder. Inside here there's a plastic cup. We fill this with sugar syrup, and we're going to be feeding these every other day, or coming up here every other day, to make sure this is totally full so that we can get the bees to draw out these wax frames. They need the sugar water in which to do that. On the underside of this there is a small little notch cut into the bee space there, and that will provide an upper entrance, but it will also provide some ventilation. So that's essentially that. This gets filled with sugar water, put on there. We no longer need a crown board there. The only other thing we require is this, and this is the roof. Again, built very similar. 4 pieces of pine, some pliers, a crown board, and I've been recycling again, guys, because the tin top is actually made from a printing press sort of sheets that they use when they put printing through presses. So this has been cut out of that, and essentially that goes on there, and that is our hive setup. So all that takes us to do now is to throw the bees in there, and then that's good to go. I'm going to set the other one up. I'll leave you on for it, and I'll fast forward it, and then we're going to get the bees in. So what I've done, I've replaced the frames in here now. This hive here is the original hive you guys saw me catching in the last swarm catch video. Now, what it means, we were a little bit unlucky in that the queen wasn't with this hive when we caught it. There was nothing left on the floor, nothing in the tree, so she obviously wasn't there, or she'd been killed, or whatever the case being, I don't know. But there's no queen in this particular hive at the moment. What I am going to do is bring over either a frame of eggs from one of my other hives to put in here and let them raise their own, or I'm going to put in a queen cell from one of my other hives. I haven't decided yet which yet. I've brought one of these with me, and this is essentially one of these which you saw me make in the video. And if you notice inside, I have some tape. Let me just lift this so I can see what's going on. Okay, so as you can see inside, I have some tape. This is duct tape, and for some reason bees just don't like duct tape. Okay, I'm going to place this on top of this hive. What this is going to do is give me somewhere I can shake the bees. It'll stop them running out. We are going to get quite a lot of flyers, especially when I open it in the morning, in the moment, but they will find, you know, their way into the entrance and job done. So that really leaves me now just to shake these. Because there's no queen in here, I can just shake them all off. I want to keep the comb and all the sugar syrup that they've stored, because I plan on making some splits, and I'll be using that as a food source. So I want these to draw a brand new comb for me. Okay, the one thing I need to do is just grab my gloves. So what I'm going to do now, guys, we will get this one set up and covered and done. Then I will turn the camera off and get on with the other one because I am running out of time, and then we'll finish up this video. Okay, so first things first, I'm just going to give under a little bit of smoke just to drive them down. There's still quite a lot of bees up in this sugar area, but there is no food there, so I'm going to just put that down by the entrance for the moment. They've built a lot of comb in here and they've done some cross bracing, so I'm going to go and need to get my tool. There we are, that's them nice and empty. We can put these back in here and that's ready for our split. That frame is twisted, that's why that's stuck. So all we got to do now, guys, is smoke them down. put our feeder on. This closes them up. In here I have the sugar water. I'm just going to place this on the floor. And all we're going to do is just dribble some of the sugar water down the frames so that the bees know it's there. So as you can see now, both hives are set up. Bees are starting to cluster on the front of them. They know they're sorting out which is which and which is new homes. We'll have a look at the other side now in a moment, but essentially that's 2 hives set up with bees. There's a few still flying around, which they will do for the moment. They're doing what's known as orientation flights, and we'll be done. So let's go around and have a little look. So there's a pathway here that people will be able to walk up and have a look at them. Not so many on the front of this one, if I can just zoom in on it. And that's mainly because most of them didn't fly. So we will get some drifting because they don't know where their hives are at the moment. But I am hoping that this will all go swimmingly well. And there we go, guys. So we're going to have all these bees flying about now for a little while because they don't know where their entrance is, where their hive is or anything. They will come in and they'll start fanning, and eventually they'll know that this is home. So we'll just leave them fly around here now and get that sorted. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope you like what you've seen, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.